Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the End in Mind podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, and I'm super excited to introduce you all to energy coach Anya. Thank you so much for being here today. We did have a session before this recording, so all of you will get the inside scoops behind what energy coach Anya can do for you all and how she helps her clients. But first, we would love to hear from you and just have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. There's a lot to say, but a short introduction. I'm energy coach Anya. I've been a high ticket energy coach for about 8 years now. But about 3 months ago, another energy coach, a friend of mine, and I stepped together and we created more like a community-based platform that it's called Ascend Nation. And we still focus on practical spirituality and basically tapping into people's full potential. But we really focus on helping you embody and implement the spirituality versus then just give you a lot of, methodologies and tools in spirituality where you kind of feel lost and overwhelmed of, what I should be doing. So yeah, we really focused on community and how to kind of help anybody who's willing to do their inner work and create a better future for themselves.
Perfect. I love what you do. And I think in today's world, we have so many tools and the freebies, right? And it can feel really loud in the energy healing space. So, how you've obviously have all of your experience, and then you help your clients really embody this shift. I remember on our call, it was almost immediate. We got right down into the nitty gritty. And I really appreciated that side of what you offer. Can you explain some of that to our listeners and maybe even share some of the transformations that you've helped your clients with?
Yeah, obviously. I like when you said, like get to the greedy and needy. I'm more of a practical person. So once you kind of get open to energy work or spirituality, let's be honest, there's like a lot of woo-woo things out there, and I'm all down for the woo-woo, but I want results and I want to provide results for my clients. So it's not just this theory where, I feel lighter and happier and relaxed, which is again great because obviously we all want to be happier and a little bit more, relaxed, less stressed. But at the end, when you're doing spirituality, I guess if I put it, the right way, it produces actual results. And that's what I love to talk about. I've had people, reach out to me stating something like, "Oh, I've been working with an energy coach. Yes, I feel like I guess we'll say less bothered by how people are or what they say or what triggers me. But at the end is like, I want results." And a lot of times, yeah, there's just a lot of theories, a lot of methodologies, a lot of tools outside. And again, especially when it comes to the woo-woo aspect of life, a lot of people in the energy field, focus on that woo-woo. So I feel like there's this gap between what actual spirituality should be doing for you in your life and, enhancing your potentials, making your results and abundance in all these different areas of life grow versus then just like this new age, I don't know what I like to call it, like new age, hippie scene when they were in the 60s, when you just, kind of smoke a joint, lay back and everything's fine. So we don't want to present that because it's not about avoiding, it's not about not dealing with, the world's problems and making money, but how to use spirituality and yeah, and be successful and make a lot of money and, have an amazing relationship and actually with time feel and look better versus then not. I hope that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes, that makes complete sense because that was my exact experience. And because I work in social media, right? You see all of the woo woo and the quick wins and, send this video to yourself and
Hmm.
you'll win the lottery. Like, and I won't
Hmm.
lie, I still
The
do those
chain
things.
ones. Yeah, the chain ones. You got to send this and then you will. Yeah,
It's almost like pressure, right? And it's all to work the algorithm anyway. So everybody has,
exactly.
unfortunately, I think in this world, a lot of people have agendas of their own, and it can sometimes cloud the way that they work with their clients. And this is like
Hmm.
no offense, to any energy coaches out there. Even in my experience as a social media coach, I've done that, right? Where I'm projecting like my belief of success onto a client without maybe even asking them what their opinion of success is. And then you start to learn and tweak. When I started getting into energy healing and why I love your approach so much is exactly what you mentioned of, oh, well, if I do all of this, like I'm a people pleaser. So if somebody tells me to do something, I almost always follow it to a T. And if I don't
Hmm.
get the results that I want after that, I can become really frustrated and
Hmm.
annoyed. And that's in my human design as well. So, do you get a lot of clients that are just kind of like throwing their hands up in the air, like, I've done all the things, I've tried everything. Why isn't this working? And what do you say to them?
Well, that's definitely most of the clients that we get. Let's just start there because, like I said, social media in general mainly sells you quick fixes. You know, the next retreat, the next 3 day seminar, or, do this, I don't know, short little, course or 10 hours, something, something. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't work. Of course it works. And there's many different modalities, but I'm really focusing, especially with Ascend Nation, we're really focusing on sustainability. I always like to say, I want to teach you how to catch your own fish. I don't want to fish for you. And in the energy world, you have a lot of, again, energy healers. So I always say, first of all, I'm not an energy healer. I personally believe that you're the only one who provides healing for yourself. Like you are your own savior. What you're missing is just maybe some proper wisdom, proper insights, proper support, proper accountability and guidance. So that's basically what we provide. But I don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna, do this energy session with you, and then we're gonna remove, I don't know, this blocks. And again, even though people actually do that, I do believe that you should be doing that work because it will be more sustainable in the long term of you understanding how I maybe got that block there, how I now released it, making sure that I'm not looping and repeating the same patterns, but I'm continuously recreating myself for the better version of myself in the future. Yeah.
I love it. It's perfect because there is so much just knowledge and it can feel again so loud. I feel like that's the theme of today's interview. Like, how do we read through all the noise and come back home, right, to the driver's seat and stop also like passing all of the blame elsewhere? My start of my healing journey, it was so easy to do that, like, especially in things like conventional therapy, and
Hmm.
then you start to really hold up the mirror and you're like, maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe it is me, right? And maybe there's things about me that I need to tweak or pay attention to. And that's what I loved about our session working together. Can you share more about the body parts and the chakras that you tend to work with and how you create these number types of healings for your clients?
So one tool that we use, and again, it's just a tool, I guess the way that I like to explain it, that gives you this energetic location of what your starting point A is. We call it Destiny Blueprint reading. And it's a combination of, it's not really a combination, but it's just a specific kind of numerology that it's backed up by the five elements and yin yang and all that, again, backed up by traditional Chinese medicine. And this is, again, another aspect. where we tend to get a lot of clients because just kind of like interlacing with what you were saying before, many people try a lot of different things. And then at the end, you find yourself jumping from one tool to another methodology to another course because they all help superficially mainly. So now you do it, it works for a little bit. You got that little, fresh energy, fresh hype, something new, something interesting, and then it stops working. So now you're searching for a new way. And I always come back to, and again, I've done all of this. I tested different methodologies. Obviously, yes, human design, one of them, and all these different tools. But I've always come back to Destiny Blueprint reading because it was just so simple. It was just, like you said, straightforward, down to earth. And I don't he need, you don't need to be an expert to understand what I'm going to tell you about. But at the same point, so it's like an addition to it, it all kind of connects to your physical body, understanding that again, anything that is happening to your physical body is just a byproduct or yeah, like a symptom of this energetic balance or misbalance. So with Destiny Blueprint reading, when we're first of all capable of pinpoint your starting energetic point A, and what we help you to do is, because a lot of people may be lost, so then we find you your point B, what it is that you want to achieve, whether you're going towards what your, I guess, manifestation is. Then we find the best and the most direct path from point A to point B using this Destiny Blueprint reading. Why? Because it's not generic. It's not just, you got to be more positive. It's not just, you got to be more spiritual. You got to be more open, or you got to do a little bit more gratitude, or, you got to do this kind of meditation, but it's specifically for you, your blockages, your potentials. And again, the cherry on top of, besides it, that it helps you understand what's happening to your physical body. So it explains to why do you have joint issues? Why do you have reoccurring headaches? And it addresses the root cause. So it doesn't focus on that symptom, temporary right now, but it actually connects all these dots together, where if you are able to holistically look at everything from your physical aspect, from your money, from your relationship, and how you are and functioning in the world, you start seeing all these connections and how everything is energy. And all you have to do is, I have to shift that energy properly, again knowing where to shift it, and then material world changes, including my physical body. And that's, again, like I said, what I'm passionate about, because anything that happens to your physical body, it's not just random, but it's understanding that it's years, months of some situations that, again, you didn't know. But now when you gain awareness about these moments and how they're connected, you can react differently, you can be different, and again create a different reality for you, for your future.
It's so cool to almost approach this backwards, right? Than all other coaches tend to go after it, because to me, this makes so much sense. I've seen, I shared with you, and a lot of our listeners know, I've seen so many people in my family fall ill, or, when we look back on things that have occurred like emotionally in their lives, it makes sense. And all of the string of dots start to come together. And even during our session, it just made a lot of sense to me that my heart was the piece of me that needed more nurturing or needed to be listened to more. And it's also tends to be the chakra that, when I'm getting energy healing sessions, that people talk about the most, So it's like strange how all of the energy healing blueprint can give the listeners, when they eventually work with you, this wholesome account, as you mentioned, for the whole life story, instead of just looking at like right now physically what's happening. I remember you shared with me a few amazing stories about your clients, and what occurred for them after they went through this blueprint with you. Can you tell some of the listeners some of those stories? And of course, we can keep it, you know, confidential for the
Yes, yes,
client's
yes.
purposes. Yes.
Um, I mean, definitely I got good and I got bad ones. Um, the thing is when and again, this is like an amazing tool to start off your, I'll say, energy path or spiritual path, because it takes away that vagueness of what am I supposed to be doing or how does this actually go. And a lot of times, yeah, I have those, let's say one, this lady that I remember several, but one that was probably one of the extreme examples is that every time when I do a destiny blueprint reading, and even though they don't specifically tell me, because it's, first, usually it's the first or second time I'm meeting you, so I don't know everything about your physical body or, what's happening. But based on this energy misbalances within your body, I can basically see, like, okay, what is your weakest organ? And in a physical realm, which Western medicine that can only, tell you when something's already manifested. So again, that access of negative energy that already manifested in a physical issue, they see it then, right? Everything's fine, everything fine, everything fine. And all of a sudden, it's not everything fine because now you got this, now you got this issue, now whatever it is. Energetically, I get to see that beforehand. So I explained to many people and I give them this heads up and I'm like, listen, these are the negative energies that you have. And I see that they're lingering around you. You live them a lot. And I'm telling you right now that you have to pay attention to them, because if you have too much negative energy, again, specific organ, specific situation. And in this case was with one lady whose was Destiny Blueprint reading was very unique and everything pointed in the direction of her heart. I really saw how weak energetically her heart was. Even though she, was not sick, no doctor would have said nothing is wrong with you. But I knew that because in our hearts we have a lot of guilt. And I said, listen, there's a lot of guilt that's weighing you down. And that guilt, if you do not learn how to process it, which means that it's negative energy access in your heart, with time, you will probably have heart related physical issues. And again, in backed up at five elements in the traditional Chinese medicine, that can be so many things. It can be just when you're older and you have joint issues, or when you have blood pressure issues, or you have anemia. So I don't specifically know what actually is going to happen, but I know that whatever her physical body is going to start telling her, it's going to be the root cause at the heart. So I always give that insights. And unfortunately, in that case, this is the bad story of it, that 2 years after that conversation, that lady suddenly had a heart attack and passed. Again, and I have a lot of those stories because, again, energetically, I see which path people are taking down, and we are energetic people and we have a limited amount of energy. So if we're not learning to regenerate that, then again, with time, you obviously have less of that positive energy, which means you have more of that negative energy. And if you're not consciously eliminating that negative energy, we wish I had a contract that says, well, you have that many years and then you run out and then this is gonna happen, right? But we don't have that specific, so I can only give, you know, I guess I'll say wisdoms, like a little pieces of wisdom to understand. Listen, this is where, again, too much negative energy, and I don't see what something is going to happen, but I can see it clearly. And a lot, and for example, or I had a client who had, severe seasonal allergies. And anything when it comes to allergies is basically your immune system. So it's like your body has this, I guess we'll say, disagreement with yourself. You don't like something about you. So that's why you have this allergic reaction to something. So when she started working with me and started regenerating her energy, and energy shifted in her organs, then the allergies went, away completely. Nothing happened. She didn't have that issue. So yeah, I have a lot of those kind of stories. But again, there can be the good or minuses.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Your testimonial stories are like so cool and so interesting and sending so much love to your client that, was not able to get more of the positive energy back, and her family, of course. And with the client that you are sharing with us about the allergies, I find that so interesting. And I'm also curious, do you have clients that resist wanting to look at that part of themselves that maybe they do feel allergic to? And is there a long period of time that it may take to uncover sometimes like what that core belief is, or are you able to help them navigate that pretty seamlessly?
Of course. So if always everything goes back to you can save yourself. Nobody can save you. So, right, I wish again, I'll be like, oh, this is going to take you 3 months, but I don't know how long it's going to take you. It depends on you and your speed and how much you understand and how quickly you're going to let go. And even though that we are constructed in a way where it's like, okay, I know I need to learn new things, right? Okay, fine. You go to school, I got to learn about math. I got to learn about geography. It's like we understand that we got to learn things, even though we kind of hate going out of school. And then I was like, well, apparently I got much more learning to do, right? That was like me for me, because I thought I was, going out of school. I was like, oh, I'm done learning. And then life came and I'm like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. So much more to learn, which again, it's not the problem. The problem is letting go of the things that you already know that didn't work, or it's, not supportive of you. So that's where we have the problem. And that's why, again, with Ascend Nation, we focus on the training, because we understand that every life, every situation, everything, every person is just so different that I cannot know how long it's going to take you to let something go. And that's why we don't focus on the quick fixes and just, little retreats and, a little bit clearing session, but we've created a community where again, you are determined to overcome all those negative patterns, or again, they call it generational trauma, or anything that basically is keeping you stuck. And again, it depends on how high you want to go, because in life there is no ending high. How high, there's no top here. So I 15 years ago decided that I'm going to go for everything, whatever up there is, I'm keep on going. So I've never really stopped. But yes, then some people who are like, okay, I just want to, feel a little bit lighter, or maybe I just want to overcome a little bit of, I don't know, guilt, let's say, or fear. And they do this, one level of cleansing, I guess we say, and they're satisfied.
Mm.
But there's so many levels of that. And again, that's why we facilitate, the community and this platform where we focus on people who understand, like, I need to save myself. All I gotta do is all it's like all I need is some guidance, some accountability, somebody I can ask questions once in a while when I feel lost. Because again, in spiritual world, and you going back to you definitely need to ask questions. And again, everything, not to mention all the AI stuff. And now it's, less asking questions, less physical, I guess, will contact with people, more automated, more videos, more, 12-week programs. Um, but yes, we want to attract those who understand, like, I am going to do the work. I just hold my hand, and then we hold your hand so that you can go through that, and you know that we've done it and we've been and we understand, and it's going to be good days and it's going to be bad days, but like we can do it together.
Oh, it's so good what you provide. I couldn't agree more. I think human connection is honestly going to be like the new abundance in the next few
Yes.
months and years here. And the fact that you are able to provide that to your clients through the community forum and one on one, if you still offer that, and,
Mhm.
just be there for people. I know how much it meant for me and my journey. And working with you was so spectacular. So thank you so much for what you do and how you're helping your clients. I also want to just share this one last piece that you were saying about it's not always that we need to learn something new, but maybe that we need to let things go. And that's really where, the Ascend program and your teachings are able to help clients. What a gift that is to hear that there isn't some secret, right, to life, or that there's like this key that we're hunting for in this crazy world of like a treasure box on the other side
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
door.
Everybody wants a treasure box. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we can just say, wow, we don't actually need to search. We don't need to look. It's just right here. Maybe it's actually releasing instead of like clenching up, is almost like what I'm seeing.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody's searching for that treasure box, the next fix, the next dopamine hit. And again, that's why we tend to, go from programs or from coaches or from, retreats and events and all this, and then we jump from one thing to another. Um, but everything sustainable, everything like long term is this one thing that you keep on going at, like if you want to be, the way I like to say, I want to be a professional at life. And I'm not a professional tennis player, not a professional basketball player, but I want to be a professional at life. So when you take that analogy of being somebody who's professional at, playing tennis, for example, you can't keep on jumping from one coach to another coach, from one strategy to another strategy, from, today I'm going to play tennis, tomorrow I'm going to do basketball, tomorrow I'm going to. No, it's like you have to practice it. And everything in life is mastery with practice. And yeah, that's exactly what we just want to provide of people understanding that everything that you want to be or achieve or get to, it's always available. It's always there for you. The only question is, how willing are you to change? Because if it's not functioning for you, if you are not getting the results that you want to get, it's not that, the universe or God doesn't want you to be there or has a secret agenda because God enjoys you suffer. No, it's just because that you have a pattern, something that you can't let go of. So again, the basic stuff. If you want different results in life, you gotta be different person. And letting go of what we know or what we were taught is definitely difficult because we're always going to choose a familiar hell over unfamiliar heaven.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Thank you so much for today. I had the best time as always chatting with you. Can you tell our listeners how we can get in touch with you, how we can possibly join the Ascend Nation? And then, of course, we'll have all of the links in the show notes below for our multitasking listeners. And you can always DM me as well.
Of course. So I'm on all social media, Energy Coach Anya. And Ascend Nation is over all social media, Ascend Nation with a double I for a reason there. So Ascend Nation on all, also ascendnation.com. When we run monthly manifestation webinars. If this is something that, anybody is interested in to help you, because I guess we'll say, broken that actual strategy of how to manifest anything that you want, because we have done it, because I have created my dream life in the Caribbean with my dream partner, with my dream businesses, with my everything that I could ever only imagined. And we just want to basically pass the wisdom. We want to pay it forward to those who are willing to grab it. Again, like I said, change is difficult, and it's not for everyone. And human, we're natural to be complacent and like to be in our comfort zone. But again, if this is something that calls out for you because you want to reach more potential, because you are curious about all the things that I can achieve, then yes, ascendnation.com, that's where you're going to find us.
Thank you so much. This was so awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. Thank you for the conversation.
Anytime.